Recently, I went through basic training, and living less than 500 kilometers away from the biggest global military conflict of 2025, losing weight was last on my priority list. But now that I'm back, I have been wondering, how do soldiers get into shape and what can we learn from them? First off, let me recite a quote by one of my instructors. My unmatched perspicacity coupled with my sheer In basic training, the food is made in a way where scrawny people get bigger and fat people get slimmer. How can this be? We will be covering 3 key principles, and without dragging this out too long, let's go into number 1, food selection. For the most part, in basic training, you were fed pretty well. And honestly, compared to how strict my diet was before I left for basic training, what I got fed there was honestly something that I would consider almost cheat food or junk food. In the military, we were given 3 meals per day, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We essentially had an all-you-can-eat buffet of vegetables, cheese, and sliced meat. We were given 1 main dish, some tea or juice on the side if you wanted to drink, yogurt or cottage cheese, and typically 1 little dessert like maybe a fruit or a chocolate waffle. If I had to guess, I would say roughly most full meals would be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 calories. Personally, for me, they lacked a little bit of protein, but look, there were some picky eaters, so you can finagle your way into getting more food than you're supposed to get. So averaging out all of the calories, we were basically fed around 3,500 calories per day. And honestly, calorie-wise, that isn't too different from what I eat at home. On my maintenance, I'm eating around 3,500, and I know that number for some people may sound comically large, but do keep in mind that I do a shit ton of exercise. I basically do 2 workouts a day, 2 cardio sessions. I also work construction, so with all of that daily activity, I can eat quite a lot of food. Now, just a quick comparison between my personal diet at home and in the military. In the military, it was much higher carb and much lower protein compared to what I was eating at home, but that's really the only difference. So bearing all of this in mind, what can we see diet-wise? You eat 3 meals per day. A lot of the food in the military will be single ingredient, low calorie, high volume food. All of the calorie dense foods will be given to you in very small portions. You can eat all the vegetables you want, but anything higher calorie like cheese and meats, you can only grab basically 1 portion of. When it comes to sweets and desserts, you are given them very sparingly. If you were given a muffin, you're only taking 1 because frankly, you're too scared to see what happens if you go ask for another one. And as a visual representation, this is roughly what my plates of food used to look like. I would eat this 3 times per day and I would still lose weight. Now, before we get on to number 2, if you enjoy this type of content, press the first link in the description and consider joining our school group where you can find courses on fitness and weight loss, like-minded people, and you can get more personal help from me. But anyways, number 2, daily activity. It's kind of impossible to gain weight when you're walking 20 to 30,000 steps per day with a plate carrier. And just for curiosity's sake, I did math. I did the math. Lowballing the numbers, if we have a helmet plus a plate carrier combo, this will add at least 20 extra pounds of weight to our body. Walking 20,000 steps with 20 pounds will burn at least an extra 700 to 1,000 calories per day. Now, this is nice and all. I'm just being friendly here. An extra 20 pounds. Ooh, you get used to those 20 pounds very quickly, but now there's some days where you have to go rucking. I love those days so much. Now, let me be honest. Walking even 5 kilometers with an extra 100 pounds on your back, it's really not fun. But it sure does burn a whole lot of calories. But since you don't ruck every single day, well, keep that out of the question, but it does add up to a decent amount of calories. Now, you may also have some physical training like running, push-ups, sit-ups, but frankly, this doesn't really take up the majority of your energy, but we can also add in like an extra 100 to 300 calories from the PT that you're doing. So here is what you can practically do. Exercise first thing in the morning. Try not to eat anything beforehand because you're likely going to cramp. If you want to eat, have a little bit of carbs, up to 40 grams, no more, and honestly, don't even brush your teeth. Just first thing in the morning, hop out of bed, get that exercise done as soon as possible because the longer you put it off, the less likely you are to do it. All you need is 30 minutes in the morning. There's a reason the military does this. You don't get time to brush your teeth, you don't get time to do shit. You just wake up, you dress up, and you go exercise. Now, you can do this with any form of exercise. So let's say you want to run. Start with a 1 kilometer run first thing in the morning and then progress it over time to 5 kilometers. Crank out as many push-ups as you can for 2 minutes and progress that over time. Crank out as many sit-ups as you can. Progress this over time. The idea here though is not to kill yourself. You want to push just a little bit above your capabilities every single day so you improve over time and don't fall off your exercise. It should feel a little bit hard, but not to the point where you want to quit. If you exercise and you feel like you hate it, you're either pushing too hard or doing the wrong type of exercise. Try to do this roughly 3 to 7 times per week and focus on improving your numbers. This gamifies your exercise and makes it much more likely that you're going to stick to it. Number 3, sleep. You are strictly supposed to be given 8 hours of sleep every single night. But for anyone who's been through basic training, you'll quickly come to find that this is less of a strict rule and more of a nice suggestion. This is the one place where I think the military lacks in health-wise. But frankly, you can't really hate on it too much because it's part of the job and sometimes you need to be awake very fast. Now, most days you are going to get your 8 hours of sleep. But if you do have any drills outside in the forest or any nighttime drills, you can forget your 8 hours of sleep and cut that in half. Now, the same thing applies for guard duty. You know, if you're out there watching cameras, cleaning toilets in the middle of the night, and God forbid if you have any so-called unexpected tasks that hit you at night, you can forget your sleep. For example, if you lose your magazine, I can assure you you're not going to sleep until you find the goddamn magazine. So here's what you can practically do. Leave at least 8 full hours of sleep. If you want exact times that you can copy, we went to bed at 9:45 and woke up at 5:45. Don't eat at least 3 hours before bed and don't ingest any caffeine at least 8 hours before sleep as well. If we were ever given coffee, which we were, like once or twice, it was always given in the morning. You don't want the coffee to impact your sleep. And lastly, don't overcomplicate things. Sleep is super important, but unless you mess up really badly, for the most part, it's gonna be okay. If you don't go to bed too late and wake up at a reasonable time and you feel fine, there's not much to worry about. Now look, sure, I can recommend morning sunlight and not spiking your insulin before bed or sleeping in a pitch black room with the perfect temperature. But if we don't want to be autistic with our sleep, the 80-20 of it is just staying in bed for at least 8 to 10 hours. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel so I don't get sent out to Ukraine, and don't forget to stay savvy with your diet.